This is a 2003 Honda Element. Kidding, Doug. My name is Vim, and this is my Honda Element, and it is currently for sale live on Mr. Demura's platform, Cars&Bids, and that listing is most likely where we found this video from because, as you can tell by this amazing camera work, I'm not exactly a YouTuber. I really was just looking for an excuse to wear some silly headgear in a public park on my head and go over some of the more interesting features and cover some of the details, modifications, improvements, things I've done during my ownership that I genuinely believe add a lot of value to the ownership of this car. And maybe this video will help you decide if a 5-speed manual all-wheel drive Element is what's missing in your life. On to the cabin. Those golden yellow Diode Dynamics LED fog lamps can be toggled on or off using this button here as long as your parking lamps or headlamps are switched on. The column stock here controls your audio system in case you don't want to reach over and touch your touch screen. Moving on to the dash-mounted powered USB ports mean you can run Apple CarPlay or Android Auto to the touch screen right off your phone while simultaneously charging your dog's phone with the second cable. The center console comes out of the highly coveted SC trim level Element, one of which gave its life to provide you with this ample storage space, comfortable armrest, and removable cup holders that make for super easy cleanup. You're welcome. Now, a moment of silence while we move to the back. Okay, whoa, what is that? Why is that there? Yeah, some pretty cool versatility to cover on this back seat area. So you see that yellow pull tab right there by the floor? Yep, and a black one up top. The one up top controls the recline function of your rear seat's backrest. You could put it in any position comfortable for your passengers or fold it flat just like the front seats. Now, the yellow pull tab, you pull towards yourself, swing in the platform, then you could take the whole seat assembly, swing it up, and hook the carabiner in place on the grab handle. You just opened up a ton of space in the back seat area. Pretty cool. Now we're going to essentially put it right back into place so that I could show you how quickly and easily you can remove the entire back seat. So with that clicked back into place, we're going to move on to the trim panel that we need to remove here on the right side. That's out, and put the recline back into the normal position. So first, pull on the yellow handle, swing in that platform. Then we're going to pull down this lever, and then the handle we're going to grab and pull towards ourselves, just a little bit, swinging it forward towards my body. Boom, right there, and hook it back. It's out. That's it. So your seat is out in 30 seconds. You could remove both rear seats in 1 minute. Same deal, don't worry about it. That's fine. It's fine. No, seriously, those trim panels just snap into place. So now I'm going to show you how easily the seats go right back into place. Pull off the trim panel. That yellow kind of fish mouth you see on the right, that's going to hook in first at the same angle you took the seat out. So kind of lean it forward towards yourself a little bit. Try to align that yellow fish mouth. It'll hook right in, and once you feel that hook in, you drop the back area of that on the handle on the right, and it's in. That's it. Now you swing out your platform, and that clicks back into place. Your back seat is reinstalled. Then you can put the trim panel back if you so please, and good to go. Now we're working our way to the back of the Element just to show you this split tailgate situation. The upper portion is like a standard hatch, which you're just going to pull that hand. Okay, camera work like this doesn't come easy, so just, go easy on yourself. Opening the hatch area, and then you almost didn't see me pull the lever to open up the tailgate. But now, with both open, you have full access. You could pull out that cargo liner and access your spare tire well. That's what's up. Then we're going to put the cargo liner back into place and click the tailgate closed. And then close up the hatch. And with that, let's go for a drive. So in this portion of the video, I'm just going to cut in some pretty boring driving footage. More so the purpose here is to share my perspective and approach to modifying and maintaining. If you're a serious bidder and want to potentially buy this car, I urge you to listen. You may get some value out of knowing at least why I did all the things that I did. If you don't have a serious interest in the car, I urge you, please go do something better with your time. So, my wife and I originally bought this Element as a dog hauler, road tripper, and it serves that purpose great. I, of course, had to have the hard-to-find manual all-wheel drive because I'm kind of a car guy. So it had its drawbacks right off the bat. Being an '04, the most glaring was the factory halogen headlamps, just awful in dark and foggy places. So I replaced those with brand new '07 style black housing units. I added in some HIDs. I went with a 4300 Kelvin color temperature to kind of keep it looking not too purple, not too modded. The result was it looks pretty identical in color temperature to my S2000's original HID lamps. So they are a pretty close match, and I'm happy with that result. So I added in Diode Dynamics SS3 LEDs in the original fog light positions, and they are just this perfect cut-through fog yellow. They do operate off a switch, so you don't have to be that person on the road always running yellow fogs anytime your headlamps are on. Next, I've been absolutely spoiled by Apple CarPlay. I stream music, podcasts, navigate, phone calls. I'm sure Android Auto users feel the same way, so it was time for that head unit to get upgraded. I had a flush screen version of this same unit, and I was pretty happy with it. And even though I don't like the floating touchscreen look very much, I kept thinking practically, hey, my T-Rex arms could probably reach that floating touchscreen a little better. And just practically speaking, it is nice having it right above kind of where you're shifting. So I switched to it, have been happy, haven't looked back. This touchscreen is fully adjustable. It does tilt, goes up and down a bit, and it supports both types of phones, Apple and Android. The powered USB slots, of course, you use one cable for your phone support, and the other will do separate charging. So they'll both charge simultaneously, of course. There's an interesting quirks that Elements have. There's this low-profile center console. I'm sure you've seen them if you've been looking at Elements. Great for camping people, probably, or anyone who loves to sprint between the front and rear seats. But the cost of that is you get these uncomfortable armrests. I dare you to use them cup holders, and, well, no real storage space. I sourced a Honda console from an SC version that now gives you a real storage box. It feels bigger than my Miata's trunk. It has usable cup holders that don't let your drinks tilt and spill every time you're taking a corner. And truly, one of the best positions you can rest your arm while driving. It feels great. It's my favorite mod to date of everything. Just a total game changer. Visually, I wanted to modernize the look of this car. Having refreshed the headlights, the silver cladding that was sun faded and stained just started to really look out of place. I loved the sharp look of sort of the original EXP pieces that are like this deep satin black. And I bought some aftermarket versions of those, like replacement parts, and they were kind of this dark gray. They weren't the right black. So I ended up ordering those directly from Honda and getting the OEM pieces. I added ceramic tint to the driver and passenger front door glass just to match kind of the rest of the tint that was already present on the rears. I believe they're just a factory tinted glass. It's not really a film. I threw on some methods that I felt looked really good on this rig. They fit really nicely. And I added Toyo AT3 tires they're good in the dry, okay in the wet, wonderful in the snow. Jumping right into the mechanical stuff. Shifter felt sloppy. 172,000 miles, what do you expect? I installed a Buddy Club short shifter, Acuity base bushings, and linkage bushings. Overall, there's still a slight bit of play just on center due to the design of how these cables are mated to the shifter assembly, but the movement and throws are super clean and confident. It's just a massive improvement. And they're not like this sports car short. It's a very nice, confident throw. You know what gear you're in at all times. There's no vagueness at all. Intake and exhaust. The Cars&Bids listing almost alludes to this might be making more power, but we don't have a dyno sheet to verify. Let me just dispel all that. So the only reason the intake and exhaust were changed are kind of practical reasons. The intake I switched out to improve the gas mileage. It actually ticked up about 2 to 3 points across the board. So 2 to 3 mile per gallon improvement just from that front, that short ram intake. And the side benefit, of course, is some beautiful induction noise if you get a little heavy on that K24. Now, the exhaust, the factory muffler had a good sized dent in it and just looked kind of corroded and ratty. And I just thought, you know what, let me have my guy cut this out. I had my local exhaust guy put in fresh piping, resonator, muffler. I took it back for a few revisions because there was this obnoxious drone that had sort of unlocked. You could hear it at decel. I want to say like 2,800 RPM if I'm remembering correctly. It was a nightmare. I mean, everything sounded great, but that range. We eventually did the math after several revisions and added an adjustable Helmholtz style resonator so you could kind of slide it shorter or longer, and that was the ticket. Where it is positioned now kills off all the bad frequencies. There is zero drone, and I'll be honest with you, it does not sound any louder than factory, so sorry to disappoint. The suspension overall was pretty tired. About 4,000 miles ago, right around the 178,000 mark, I started hearing some clicking coming from the transmission, and basically the main ring gear had let go in the transaxle. So we replaced it with a complete transmission right out of another '04 Element. It had about 20,000 miles less on that vehicle, so about 160, I think. Having that transaxle out, I took the opportunity to put in a brand new clutch and flywheel. I went with Exity, of course, that's the OEM supplier. And the flywheel is slightly lighter than stock, so frees up the revs a bit, but doesn't cause any issues, not hard to engage. I want to say it's the original unit out of a Type S RSX. And refreshed the whole front end while we were in there. So went through all the motor mounts. One of them did need replacing, so I replaced that. Fitted brand new KYB struts. They're the complete assemblies. Upper top mount, coil spring, damper itself, just full assemblies. And genuinely speaking, I like to do all four at once. I couldn't do the rears at the same time because the part number, one of the rear part numbers, was on some lengthy back order. And I just thought, you know what, winter's coming. Let's get this put back together and get through winter, and then maybe next year I'll address them. Front CV axles I replaced at the same time. I went with some aftermarket units that had a guarantee. Unfortunately, I had some slight vibration at like 40, 45 miles an hour. Turns out the original axles have these vibration dampers built into kind of the center of the shaft, and you'll see that on the front axles of Elements if they're original. So I thought, you know what, I could tolerate this vibration, but then mechanically thinking, I was like, wait a minute, this is just going to cause undue stress on everything I just replaced. Prematurely wear out the ball joints, the bushings, just all the work that we've done. So took the plunge, spent over $700 in factory OEM CV axles from Honda, so that's there. You'll have nothing to worry about on the front end for a very, very long time. Other than that, I would say on the rear, the coil and shock combo strut, what have you, the dampers are pretty tired. So that would need replacing down the line, but they're holding up just fine at the moment, no issues there. And the rear axles, the shafts are definitely looking pretty crusty, but the boots are a little dried out, but they're still holding grease, no tears, no leaks. And the great part about those rear axles are you could go aftermarket because they are not equipped with vibration dampers, and you won't see the same issues that I did with the fronts. Those are absolutely critical to go OEM. With the rears, you can go with, you know, a decent aftermarket replacement. So that's really it. I just wanted to take this opportunity to showcase a little bit of the car and give you kind of an inside look at why I did some of the things that I did. Really want this car to go to a good home. I did take a lot of time, a lot of thought into everything that I did. I don't just throw parts at a car just because. So it was kind of a passion project, and I really did intend to keep this long term. But being a car nut, there's always something on my radar, and I've got to clear some space. So I want this to go to a great home. If you have any questions at all about this, please ask right on Cars&Bids in the auction. I'm sorry, I'm not a YouTube guy. I don't need likes, subscriptions, comments, none of that. Just if you're interested in this car, reach out on Cars&Bids. Happy to provide what I can. Thank you so much for taking the time to look at my Element. I hope you guys have a great day.